that story is real for a second, okay? Like your kid's like, oh, I would want to give the homeless people homes. And you're like, no, you're a Republican now, bitch. Fucking dumb baby, dumb bitch ass baby. 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 You wanted to help those who are marginalized? Fuck you, dude. I need you to be a fucking paleo conservative right now. Fuck you. Oh, fucking own. Guess what I fucking own? My dumbass daughter who's 6 years old, dude. Stupid fucking baby. You dumb bitch ass baby. Fucking dumb baby. Dumb bitch ass baby. Fucking dumb baby. Dumb bitch ass baby. Fucking dumb baby. Dumb bitch ass baby. I'll kick you in the fucking baby face. I almost got, child labor going too. It was fucking tight. Fuck you. Oh, fucking own. Guess what I fucking own? My dumbass daughter who's 6 years old, dude. Stupid fucking baby. You dumb bitch ass baby. Fucking dumb baby. Dumb bitch ass baby. Fucking dumb baby. Dumb bitch ass baby. Fucking dumb baby. Dumb bitch ass baby. I'll kick you in the fucking baby face.
What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, fantastic afternoon, fantastic pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hasan Piker, and this is the Hasan broadcast coming to you live from yet another rainy day here in California, Los Angeles, folks. We're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, all the girls, and all the MBs are having a fantastic one because today's a beautiful day. Today's a wonderful day. Today is Thursday. That's right. It's Thirsty Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday, one day out from Valentine's Day, February 13th, 2025. We are almost 1 month into the Burger Reich, the new administration, our new overlords, and things are getting worse every single day. Now, of course, having said that, the rain has not stopped. There's no fun, no gaming, no Valentine's. Must be the Hasan broadcast. You're wrong. There will be some fun and maybe even some gaming as well. Calm down. Calm your tits. Okay? Cool it. I got to get on Abby Phillips' show. I know. I think I have an easier shot with Caitlin Collins than Abby Phillips, though, because, I don't know if Abby Phillips fucks with me like that. But I think Caitlin Collins does. My tits will not remain calm. No, my titties are also out of control. Don't worry about it. My titties are not calm either. Anyway, folks, this is part of the broadcast where I tell you about my personal news about what's going on in the world of Hasan Ivy Piker. I finished Mashal. Second season. I've been watching Sakamoto Days, which is pretty good. Lots of anime. I also officially deleted Twitter from my phone again because I feel like it was making my brain worse. In terms of all of the social media platforms, I feel like Twitter has the absolute worst, lowest common denominator appealing content. It's just so bad. I feel like it is truly hurting my brain. Even the stuff that's not political, right? Even when I watch stuff that's not political, like videos that pop off on the website, I feel like out of all of the social media websites, it is truly the worst. Even the videos that bang on that, or bang as in even the videos that go viral on that website are just so bad, dude. I feel like the only website that's worse than Twitter is Facebook because it's all AI slop, and I suspect that Twitter will inevitably move in that direction as well. Also, remember for all of the New York City followers, for all my New York City followers, if you haven't done so, today is the last day to register as a Democrat in the city of New York. And the reason why you must register as a Democrat in the city of New York, even though you're a revolutionary communist, Marxist, Leninist, vanguardist, is because Zohran Mamdani is running for mayor. And you have a unique opportunity to vote for him in the primaries. And you can't do that unless you are a registered Democrat. So go and register as a Democrat in the state of New York, in New York City, for your mayoral race. All right? Remember that. Remember that. This is important. Vote for Zohran Mamdani. Zohran Kwame Mamdani. He's dope. And we'll get into that a little bit today as well. So check out Mastodon. No, dude, I don't want brain rot in the opposite direction either. P blows. Thank you for the 10 community give the subs. Chatters don't realize that, especially for people like myself, that spend a whole deal of time online, it is important to at least stay somewhat in touch with what is going on in the world. And oftentimes I think being online can be that resource, but it is something that you need to carefully craft. I don't want to go into a, like a Tumblr reservation, right? I don't want that either. Or Blue Sky. I want like a place where you could technically have the bus driver also post on. Twitter is no longer that place anyway. Whatever. It's fine. It's just everything sucks. Everything sucks. Everything sucks. Everything sucks. All right. But how about a real rock tumbler? Smooth out the brain wrinkles? Yeah. Regardless, folks, this is part of the broadcast where I tell you about my personal news, like I said, and there's not really much going on in my world, in the world of Hasan Abi Piker, as a matter of fact. There's, unsurprisingly, not a lot happening in my world, in the universe. There's a lot going on in the universe, though, in terms of politics. I had a bunch of follow-ups with a bunch of journalists, a couple articles coming out down the pipeline, and the question that I consistently keep receiving is, what is the future? What are people supposed to do? What are we gonna do? And it's like, I got journalists at the New York Times and shit asking me this question, and I'm like, I still haven't been able to fully figure that out yet, and I'm in a holding pattern at this point. So, just understand that everyone is basically looking at anyone that could potentially offer some semblance of normalcy and some kind of appropriate method of response to the gutting of our institutions and the federal government, mass layoffs, numerous things that the Elon Musk administration is currently engaging in. So, in any case, what did Bugga Wolf ask? What is this? That's a OG Hasanabi head. That's crazy. That's like one of the first ever. That's like one of my first ever subscribers. Oh my God, dude. Of course, long-term community members are the ones that constantly are drama baiting. I have noticed that. Drama in the first 20 minutes is crazy. Yeah, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. Do you usually encourage people to get out and protest, or is it illegal? No, I, of course, encourage people to go out and protest. It is, as it stands, currently not illegal. Even if it were to become illegal, I would still probably urge people to go out and do that regardless. I would find different ways of maybe communicating this desire, but... So, in any case, we will... How are your rain gutters? I don't even know if I have rain gutters, dude. I have no idea. Hank Pecker stocks are booming. This has 42 likes. Wouldn't say that the stocks are booming. But I'll repost that every time. You already know, baby. Like, mark, repost. Yeah, but personal news wise, this morning I took Kaya to the park. And it was raining, but at least I was able to get her energy out. I, on the other hand, was not able to get my energy out by working out because there was no opportunity to work out. Because when it rains, unfortunately, everything in Los Angeles collapses. There's already like flood warnings. There's already evacuation shelters and stuff being assigned. And most of our infrastructure is built around the idea that it's always going to be rainy because it always is rainy. I mean, not rainy, sorry, sunny. See, notice how I said rainy instead of sunny? That's how much rain has become a prominent fixture in my life. I hate it. Anyway, here, this is someone had the audacity to lie about my GeoGuessr experience with MHUD. Here it is. One. All right, we got another truck meta.
Yes.
Wait, why?
You see where we are?
Is it the United States? It looks like, it feels like the United States of America.
I wish it was. The bollard right there, it's very important. When you just passed.
I don't, where is the bollard?
You want me to give you a small hint since we're running out of time?
Sure. Oh, dude, it's turkey as well. God damn.
Let's go.
Okay. I love that. Bro said he can't go to the gym because it rained. No. Today is the day where I play basketball, but all of the outdoor courts, all the courts are outdoors. There's very few indoor courts. Oh. Okay. This edit is devious. Yeah. Hasan, be Greek confirmed. Oh no. Isn't this New York technically? It is. Did you not see all of the flags? There's no way you looked at this video and thought that this was actually the GeoGuessr video that I was looking at. The joke is that everywhere in Turkey is plastered with Turkish flags. That's one aspect of the joke. The second aspect of it is that I was looking at a random street, not this, obviously, as a Turkish man and couldn't figure out that it was Turkey fast enough. That's crazy. The level of intellect in my community is also diminished, but it's good. We're getting used to the Trump administration, I think. We're getting there. Aren't you a little old for outside course? They started hurting my knees at like 20. I have a video of the class today. Yes, dark gooner misogyny, the gooner to alt-right pipeline. Ooh, that's interesting. God damn, the rain is getting crazy out there, by the way. It's definitely wild. We'll look at the Gooner video in a little bit. I'm sorry, I do not want the reputation of a drama baiter. Yes, well, you're getting it. Stop talking about it. We're not doing drama bait. Hasan, please, I need this. Everyone, anytime. Oh, did it just F for a second? Did it just F as soon as I said the rain is getting crazy? That's crazy. Big F, mini F, dude. Chat can never figure out like what level of F we've just received. One chatter said big F, the other chatter said mini F, no big deal. Which one is it? 25 centimeters of rain in Toronto. Don't cry about the rain. Yeah, except 25 centimeters of rain, snow in Toronto might not devastate Toronto as bad as like a little light drizzle devastates LA. We just don't have the infrastructure for it. We don't have the infrastructure designed to withstand even a little bit of drizzle, and it's awful because America is a developing nation that masquerades as a very wealthy nation because it is a very wealthy nation. It's just that the wealth is not distributed evenly. Even when you are considering, even when you are living in an area that obviously is a very wealthy part of the country. I mean, I live in West Hollywood. I live in one of the worst housing markets on the planet. Okay. I own a home in one of the worst housing markets on the planet. Think about that. And yet, the infrastructure is still not built to withstand light drizzle here. That's the problem. It's not developing at all. That's the problem. Yeah, we need a new term for America. It's not a developing nation because it's not developing at all. It's a nation that's no longer even stagnant. It's just like crippling. Sticking out your gat for the drizzler. Oh my Lord. You're so skibbity. We're a wash nation. We're a regressing nation. We're not an underdeveloped nation. We were a developed nation at one point. We are now in reverse. We're regressing, rotting, decaying, devolving. Those are terms I would explain. No, it's not a developing nation. Please, bro, it has its problems. But as someone who lives in a developing nation, USA is developed. And LA is a desert. Of course, it won't withstand rain. I don't understand why people have the audacity to come to me and say, no, your current experiences are invalid because I live in a developing nation. Okay, I lived in a developing nation too. What are you talking about? I saw what it's like when you are living in a developing nation. I saw what it's like when you live in a developed nation. And I know what it's like when you're living in a decaying, rotting nation. Okay? My point is, it's an unimaginably wealthy country, and yet we do not use any of the wealth or resources on fixing stuff. We are devolving. It's crazy. Bro, I live in Pakistan. Come on, US is trash, but it's not the same. Dog, that's my point. Dude, oh my God. Oh my God. The point is, are you insane? Like, of course, I'm not comparing the United States of America to Pakistan. Dude. No, I don't think the United States has similar conditions to Pakistan. My point is that the United States is the wealthiest nation on the planet. The wealthiest nation in history. Okay? It is, of course, not supposed to be in the same conversation as Pakistan. Okay? All right, now we got to do my life for Pakistan because Pakistan mentioned. Okay. I'm sorry.
You see, this is the spirit. We love Pakistan.
My pledge to my country is that when I will grow up, I will be the scientist like Dr. Abdul Qadir Khan, who helped Pakistan in making the nuclear power.
Inshallah, we have a bright future. We have here students who are going to make Pakistan a great nuclear nation.
When I will grow up, I will be army and save Pakistan and destroy India.
Yes!
Strong army, whoa, great!
Whoa!
My pledge is to help people who need for like people money and all this.
Whoa!
He's going to help the people in Pakistan. Great.
I will open educational
She after the previous one that was like I will join the military and destroy India. This guy being like, I'm gonna help people. She's like, oh, okay, cool, move on. You're like, all right, get the fuck out of here, kid. What do you mean help people? I will destroy India. I will sacrifice my life for Pakistan.
institution as possible, and I'm proud to be a Pakistani.
The next generation of Pakistan is going to make Pakistan literacy 100%.
My pledge to my country is that I will finish all corruption, and so we will prove to Pakistan is not less than any other country. Pakistan Zindabad.
Pakistan Zindabad.
I will be a soldier, and I will die for my country.
Yeah, we have soldiers who want to live for the country and die for the country.
Dude, that's amazing. Oh God. Nationalism is a disease. Okay, man. Yeah. Just let the meme sit. Okay. Can you just enjoy shit without immediately being annoying? Like, calm down, man. Jesus Christ.
My plan is to, when I will grow up, I will help the poor people by giving their home, by giving them homes.
Inshallah, he is going to give homes to everyone.
When I will be a point, I will reduce illiteracy. That is my first goal. And my second goal will be to help the poor. Long live Pakistan!
In the war.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, long live Pakistan. Pakistan Zindabar. I will die for the Pakistan military. I will blow up India. Anyway. It's so good. It's such a good video. My Indian roommate just asked me what the fuck I'm watching. I'm indoctrinating you guys into Pakistan nationalism. We are committed soldiers of Imran Khan. Okay? This community is committed to Imran Khan, who will save Pakistan, who has been undermined by the American empire for the crime of eliminating corruption in Pakistan. Okay? And once again, we stand tall, loudly and proudly in support of the political prisoner, the real political hostage, Imran Khan. Pakistan will be number one once again. By the way, Donald Trump is holding a press conference, and we're going to get into that after I blast off, or rather,
pretty accurate.
I'm going to get into it right now.
A country in Russia's position could allow them, just in their position, could allow them to join NATO.
So let's do it.
And long before President Putin,
Did Tamasia send a playlist?
Russia was very strong on the fact that I believe that's the reason the war started, because Biden went out and said that they could join NATO, and he shouldn't have said that. As soon as he said that, I said, you know what?
Weirdly enough, maybe Trump will save Imran Khan. Who knows?
This is a war that would have never happened if I were president.
You don't think it's President Biden's fault, not President Putin? I mean, he's the one.
I think Biden is incompetent, and I think when he said that they could join NATO, I thought that was a very stupid thing to say. I thought when he said, well, it depends if it's a minor incursion. In other words, it's okay if Russia does a minor incursion. I thought that was a very foolish thing to say. The other thing that got it started was how badly Milley and these.
Why would Trump of all people save Imran Khan? Because he's a base third worldist, dude.
I was going to pull out, but we were pulling out with dignity and strength, and we were going to take our equipment with us and everything else. They are.
Don't joke about that. Pakistani Americans voted for Trump because they believe he will release him. Wait, really?
That mess, and he said, "Wow, this is a great time. I'm going to go in." But what the Americans said. I'm not blaming Americans, but I will say what they said had a big influence on his deciding to go in. Yeah.
The most Latin American president of our time? Oh, 100p.
An American CEO, or did he do so as a representative of the U.S.?
I just don't think that Donald Trump does things that are like
about me?
Inherently
Elon, I don't know. They met.
the diametrical.
He wants to do business
Not true at all. Most young Pakistanis in my community didn't vote because of Gaza.
Because of the tariffs. They have the highest tariffs just about in the world, and it's a hard place to do business.
Wait, hold
I would
on.
imagine he met.
Let me blast off real quick.
Because, he's running a company. He's doing this as something that he's felt strongly about for a long time, because he sees what's happening, and he sees how the country is really being hurt badly by all of the fraud, waste, and abuse. Yeah.
So how does Modi know whether he's meeting with a CEO or meeting with a representative of your government?
Well, he's meeting with me in a little while, so I'm going to ask him that question. All right? I'll ask him that question. Yeah.
On auto tariffs, what should we expect, sir? You mentioned obviously steel and aluminum and pharmaceuticals. What are you thinking about auto tariffs? We haven't talked about that.
I think autos are coming soon. I think they're all coming more or less at the same time. And it's not going to be a big shock to the system. But what it's going to do is it's going to bring pharmaceuticals back to our country. Much more important than the money. It's a lot of money, but it's going to bring pharmaceuticals back to our country. It's going to bring chips back to our
Remember to
country.
end Turkish hate.
It's going to bring.
We will never end Turkish hate. Turkish hate will always be. Turkish hate will always thrive in this country. Okay, here.
During the campaign, they were going to build the largest.
Blasting
car
off,
plant in
ladies
the
and
world in
gentlemen.
Mexico.
Let the people
It's
know we're
almost under
live. We're
construction.
alive.
It's starting.
Let them
And
tell them to
when
get
they
in
heard
here.
me make that statement, and they thought I was going to win the election. Actually, it was a few months before the election.
Pakistani Americans thinking Donald
China-
Trump would free Imran Khan is so perfectly in line with the way that Donald Trump operates, where probably sent out feelers to the Pakistani community somehow and signaled that he would do that. Okay. So every old Pakistani American immediately locked onto it. Okay. It's no different than him going to Dearborn and being like, I'm going to finish it. I'm going to finish the Gaza stuff. I won't tell you what I will do, but I'll finish it. You know what I mean?
I say it, and I say it
Like that's classic Trump. Just like, giving federal recognition to a Native American tribe and then permanently locking them as Trump supporters, like that one specific tribe. It's always, he does this stuff all the time.
4 or 5. To me, it's the most beautiful. And I'll tell you what, I think really reciprocal tariffs, those 2 words, reciprocal makes tariffs really fair.
Yeah, reciprocal
No
tariffs.
exemptions, right? It would be all auto imports?
Any exemptions now, because you don't need to. With reciprocal, you don't need to.
What does that mean?
Fox Radio. Do you have a update on the TikTok negotiations? And
Yeah, we have a lot of people.
Timeline's running out, isn't it?
Sure, well, I have 90 days from about 2 weeks ago, right? And I'm sure it can be extended, but let's see. I don't think you'll need to. We have a lot of people interested in TikTok, and I hope to be able to make a deal. I think it would be good. People have learned it's very popular, and we'll have to probably get approval from China to do it. But we have a lot of people that are interested, and a lot of people. I think China will be interested because it's to their benefit too. So I look forward to that. But we have a lot of people that are interested in TikTok. Quite a few.
Mr. President,
Super popular.
workers arrived today, Gavin Klager and others arrived today at the IRS. Do you expect to close the IRS, or what are you expecting?
No,
to
I don't
happen?
expect
You
it,
talked
but
about the ERS.
but I
Someday.
think that the Internal Revenue Service will be looked at like everybody else. Just about everybody's going to be looked at. So it's they're doing a hell of a job. It's an amazing job they're doing. And that force is building. I call it the force of super geniuses, but it's building. And they go up and they talk to some of the people about certain deals, and the people get all tongue-tied. They can't talk because these people get it. They're very smart people. We need smart people. Yes, Brian.
On tariffs, sir.
Yeah, Brian.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, I know that during the campaign, it was huge in Pennsylvania as far as bringing back manufacturing. Have we talked to any CEOs since the tariffs were announced on steel and aluminum? What's the feedback from those guys?
They are in love with it. As you know, in Pennsylvania, U.S. Steel is through the roof. They're all through the roof. That's why I didn't want U.S. Steel to make a deal with Japan or anybody else. I think it's going to do great. But I think maybe more than anybody else, the steel companies and aluminum companies, they're in love with what's happened. And this will eventually be the car companies and chip companies. We have to have chips made in this country. Right now, everything's made in Taiwan practically, almost all of it, a little bit in
Texas
South
to
Korea.
Japan, Pog.
But everything,
Yes.
almost all of it is made in Taiwan. And we want it to be made. We want those companies to come to our country, in all due respect. They took the business away. Taiwan took our chip business away. We had Intel, we had these great companies that did so well, and it was taken from us, and we want that business back. We want it back in the United States. And if they don't bring it back, we're not going to be very happy.
And you
Sir, on
mentioned
tariffs, are you-
pharmaceuticals as well in China. That's national security to bring that back.
Yeah, China and other places. We want to get the pharmaceutical and drug business back into the United States, where it should be. Right?
Sir, on tariffs, are you concerned that the countries that would be most affected, like India, would just shift their trading to China?
No, I'm not concerned about anything, really. I mean, I'm just doing what's fair. This is a very fair thing. This should have been done a long time ago. I would have done it, but then COVID hit. I was getting ready to do this years ago, and first time we had the most successful economy in history, and then COVID hit, and this was going to be the thing that I was most waiting to do. But it was awfully hard to do this with Italy and France and Spain and all those people were dying, and then we put tariffs on. See, I have a big heart.
Sir, on Ukraine, when Putin says that he really wants peace, do you believe him?
Yeah, I do. I believe he wants peace. I believe that President Putin, when I spoke to him yesterday, I mean, I know him very well. Yeah, I think he wants peace. I think he would tell me if he didn't. I'd like to see peace.
Do you trust President
I
Putin?
believe that, I believe that he would like to see something happen. I trust him on this subject. I think he'd like to see something happen. I think it could have happened a long time ago. I think Biden, number one, it shouldn't have started, but it did. And now all those cities are knocked down, like demolition sites. All those beautiful golden towers are knocked down. There's nothing going to replace them. But much more importantly, you lost millions of people. A lot of soldiers, but you lost millions of people. When they knocked down those cities, and they're all laying down on the side, they're laying down just in ashes and all crumbled up concrete. They literally look like a world-class demolition site. And many of them, almost all of them, but many of them, and this should have been done by Biden years ago. This should have never been allowed to happen. I know he's a friend of yours.
But couldn't Putin just withdraw his
He's a friend of
troops today?
CNN. That's why nobody watches CNN anymore, because they have no credibility. Okay, who else? Yes, please.
Sir, if you can find a buyer in the United States for TikTok, do you think Xi Jinping will authorize the sale of it, or will he?
I'm going to make it worthwhile for China to do it. I think so. I mean, I got to know TikTok because during the election, I ended up with 36% higher than my opponent with youth. Okay, that never happened before. I beat, that's always been a Democrat thing, youth. It became a Trump thing. And I think TikTok, I think Joe Rogan was a part of it. Some of the great people that I did interviews with were a part of it. But I think that TikTok was I think it was a big part. Look, as you know, we were up by 36% with youth. The Republican was never up with youth. And I focused on TikTok, and I found it to be amazing, actually, and very fair. And I think the image of TikTok is different than it was before the election. I think people saw it, and they view it as a positive, not a negative. I think it'll be to China's
no one
advantage.
saw it as a negative, dog. That
Have
was
the
just
deal be made.
that was not a thing.
What money do you think you'll raise from tariffs on an annual basis?
That's the most interesting question. I think it'll be a staggering amount.
He keeps saying that when he literally lost the youth vote. Yeah, he's wrong, of course. He didn't win the youth vote by 36%. He got 36% of the youth vote, if I'm not mistaken. And that is a significantly larger percentage of the youth vote than he had gotten prior. He still lost the youth vote, but there is a significant number of Gen Z voters that voted for Donald Trump. It's true. It's a dangerous trend line if you are worried about Republicans winning elections, for sure.
Important things. Space Force, the biggest tax cuts in history. This could be one of the most important things that we've ever seen.
I mean, there are very few things that Donald Trump says that are correct. Or I guess sometimes he will say the truth. Oftentimes he'll say the truth when it's like something that people get very mad about. But it's just like American foreign policy where he'll be like, yeah, we're going to do ethnic cleansing and it's going to be awesome. Like, that is just American foreign policy. That's been the American foreign policy. He just says the quiet part out loud. But outside of that, he rarely ever says the truth. Oh, he got 46% of the youth vote, which is up 36% up from what he got in 2020. Okay, thank you. I got the numbers wrong, but I mean, he did not get the majority of the youth vote.
I think Putin would love to be back.
So why exactly can't he stop the war now? Feels weird to blame Biden for something happening under Trump's watch.
It's very possible that if that was the G8, you wouldn't have had the problem with Ukraine. And if I was president, you definitely wouldn't have had the problem with Ukraine. Russia would have never attacked Ukraine. But you ask a very good question, the G8. It used to be the G8, and then these people
he didn't get
them out. And I was
He didn't go from 10% to 46%. Hold on, I'll look it up. I'll look up the numbers in a second. Okay, hold on one. We'll get to that in a moment.
Prime Minister Abe, a great man from Japan, agreed with me 100%. And some of the
today
others
I'm going to be covering Trump's favorabilities anyway.
They had
we'll get to
been
that.
terminated. I think it would have been very helpful, and it still would be helpful to have Russia be a part of that mix.
So they-
And I think if they were, I don't think you would have had the problem that you have right now.
Russia
Kicked them
is
out of
part
course
of the
because
G20. They kicked them out, of course, because they illegally annexed Crimea. I mean, how would you have responded if Russia invaded or
Well, you
took
know,
over?
they took Crimea during Obama. They took, well, now they're looking to take the whole thing. Then they took a big chunk of land and people, as you know, during Bush. And now they're trying to take the
Wait,
whole
what?
thing during Biden.
During
You know,
Bush?
the only one
Is he talking about like Georgia or something?
that took anything with Trump, nothing, not 2 inches of property of land. But Crimea was Obama. And then Bush gave him a lot, if you remember. And then, in fact, it's a sort of a standard little phrase. And Biden's giving him everything because this is a war that shouldn't have been had. And the only one that didn't give him anything is Trump. It's just the way it is.
What's the message from Wall Street about these tariffs? So there's been some nervousness on Wall Street about the impact.
I think
it hasn't been very
Georgia,
much. I think it's gonna
Georgia was
make
in
the
Obama
United
as
States
well. Georgia was during Obama as well, but it was due to George W. Bush. I think he just got that wrong.
Other countries want to have a strong United States. They want to have a strong America. And I think it's going to make us very, very strong, much stronger. And we have a lot of work we're doing on the military. Our military already, I've authorized some contracts to be built that are very substantial. We're building the greatest equipment in the world. We have the greatest military equipment in the world. We're building it. At some point,
Georgia was
when
summer
things
of
settle down, I'm
2008.
gonna
I was
meet
in
with
DC
China,
that summer.
and I'm going to meet with Russia in particular, those two. And I'm going to say, there's no reason for us to be spending almost $1 trillion on military. There's no
Georgia was
reason
at the
for you
end
to
of
be
Bush's
spending
second term.
$400 billion. China's going to be at $400 billion. We're at $1 trillion. We're going to be at close to $1 trillion. And I'm going to say, we can settle this on, we can spend this on other things. We don't have to spend this on military because, and I'm going to be meeting with China. You know, we were trying to de-escalate nuclear, and I was in a position where Russia had agreed and China had agreed we were going to start, and then we had a rigged election, so that never took place. But this one was too big to rig. We won by so much that it was too big to rig.
You want to do the China meeting in the United States, or would you travel to China for that?
For what?
The China meeting. Would you do that here or
I
there?
tell people all the time, you know, the question is who's going to have the first meeting, where are you going to, I say this to Putin, to President Xi, I say to everybody, never bothered me, you know, I'm willing to say I'll go first. It doesn't matter. It's the end result that counts. So it doesn't make any difference.
When do you want to have a conversation about global defense spending, you, China,
Well, I'd
Russia?
like to have that, as soon as things settle down, I'm going to have that conference, primarily with China and Russia, because those are the two that really are out there. And we're going to have them spend a lot less money, and we're going to spend a lot less money. And I know they're going to do it. They agreed to it. We were talking about denuclearizing, and President Putin and I agreed that we were going to do it in a very big way. There's no reason for us to be building brand new nuclear weapons. We already have so many. You could destroy the world 50 times over, 100 times over. And here we are building new nuclear weapons, and they're building nuclear weapons, and China's building new nuclear weapons, and China's trying to catch up because, you know, they're very substantially behind, but within 5 or 6 years they'll be even. And we're all spending a lot of money that we could be spending on other things that are actually, hopefully, much more productive. Hopefully, there'll never be a time when we need those weapons. If there's ever a time when we need nuclear weapons, like the kind of weapons that we're building and that Russia has and that China has to a lesser extent, but will have, that's going to be a very sad day. That's going to be probably oblivion.
Do you see that as separate conversations, or do you see one giant summit with you, Xi Jinping, and Vladimir Putin?
Yeah, I could see that. Let things calm down a little bit. You know, when I left, we had no Middle East problem. We had no Russia going into Ukraine. They never would have done it. Putin never would have done it. And I came back and we got like the whole world is blowing up. So when we straighten it all out, then I want to have one of the first meetings I want to have is with President Xi of China, President Putin of Russia. And I want to say, let's cut our military budget in half. And we can do that.
Remember when you said the Homeland
and I think we'll be able to
Security, Gulf of America thing was being overblown? Yeah, I mean, they're petty as fuck. This doesn't change what I'm saying.
After that spending as well, that's been.
What are you
We have to
talking
go
about?
Waste
This is
fraud
what
and
they're
abuse.
doing
Yeah,
with
and we're
that,
doing that.
but it's overblown in terms of like it's not that significant of a difference.
Trilateral, or would you use
It's
the
just like a
existing
silly
body that
aesthetic
also
thing that
already
they did.
includes China and Russia, the G20?
I know it's the people. It's President Putin, President Xi. I don't need bodies. I don't need anything. It's people. It's all about people. It's about relationship and people. And, you know, I've had a good relationship with President Putin. I've had a good relationship with President Xi. It's about people. And I think when things straighten out, which I hope will be in the not too distant future, the meeting I want to have first
They will
is a
not
meeting
cut
with China and a
the
meeting with
military
Russia
spending.
on slowing down, stopping, and reducing nuclear weapons in particular, and also on not having to spend the kind of money we're all spending on weapons, military weapons generally.
I think my question is, would you have those meetings separately with each of those leaders, or would you try to bring them all together?
Both. You start off separately, and that's what was happening. I was dealing with President Putin. We had really an understanding where we were going to denuclearize. What a beautiful term that is, right? Denuclearize. What a great thing if we could do that. And we were going to. He really
A
liked the idea of
denuclearization agreement would literally make Donald Trump the greatest peacekeeper of all time.
COVID hit.
It's of course not going to happen. And the idea that it would ever happen is
an election that was too
pure fantasy. But he would absolutely be worthy of every Nobel Peace Prize going forward if that institution actually truly gave peace prizes to people who were peacekeepers in general.
There's nothing to study.
Okay?
There's nothing to study. It's going to go well. The United States is going to become a very, very strong economic.
Can you imagine Donald Trump facilitates the denuclearization of the entire planet? Yes, the same way you said Russia would not invade Ukraine. Yes, exactly. Yeah. I like that. I like that you guys can only harp on one note over and over again. That's what I mean. Yes. I wonder why you can't point to any other things aside from that, because it's always wrong, regardless of how much you fucking cry about it at the time. I hope I'm wrong. I just don't think that, Donald Trump will ever denuclearize the United States of America.
Biden in particular, I guess he said that, they have us over a barrel. They don't have us over a barrel. We have them over a barrel.
A world without nukes would be much more dangerous?
Those countries won't trade with us. We won't trade with.
What are you saying? A world without all nukes? What do you mean? What is happening? No, objectively, not having world-ending weapons would be a good thing. Okay? What?
Mitch McConnell has now voted against several of your nominees. He voted against RFK Jr. as the next health secretary, citing conspiracy theories.
He's kind of right in a way. Stop hitting the mutually assured destruction. We're talking about the evisceration of all nukes, okay? It is pure fantasy regardless, but you're out of your mind. No, stop talking about mutually assured destruction being the only way to keep peace in the world, and that is what is like kept the world safe or whatever. Look at Ukraine. Look at Ukraine. Please understand. Look at Ukraine. Russia has nukes. America has nukes. There's a reason why Russia and America never actually engage in straight battle. Okay, what's the difference for the people of Ukraine? You make it seem as though countries do not engage in war with one another because they're nuclear powers. Okay, that still doesn't change the dynamic of war. I mean, I guess it changes the dynamic of war a little bit in terms of like countries getting into battles with one another. But the notion that without nukes, Russia and the USA would have gone to war, USA would have suffered 1 million casualties in Japan. Oh my God. Oh my God. It is, no, I disagree with you. I disagree with you across the board, okay? Especially, like, as it stands currently, if you are a developing nation, you do have to have a nuke in order to avoid American intervention. But the alternative vision for a better world would be that no one has nukes.
Lost its power, and it's affected his vote. And, you know, it's one of those things. But in the meantime, Bobby did great, got more votes than anybody thought. And I think he's going to do phenomenally, just phenomenally in that position. And everybody else likewise did well. Not only well, they got more votes than anybody thought. Tulsi, look at how she
He
did.
doubted
She did
Mitch
great.
McConnell ever had polio.
Marco
That's
got
amazing.
99 votes. How about that?
He's faking it.
Marco got 99 votes. And Marco, by the way, I have to tell you, Marco Rubio's done a fantastic job. He's been a great Secretary of State. They're all doing great. But we're going to have a swearing in today, and maybe we're going to have a
The idea, if we're discussing complete denuclearization, the idea that countries would be better off with nuclear proliferation is an inherently cynical ploy, okay? You need to understand. If the conversation is about what's currently happening, then that's a totally separate conversation to have. But if there was a serious initiative towards denuclearization, and your argument is like, oh no, mutually assured destruction has kept the world safe, the idea that the world has been safe during the Cold War, or the idea that the world is currently safe, is ridiculous. It's only safe if you are in America. It's only safe if you are in the heart of empire, if you're in the imperial core. It's not safe at all for other countries. That's ridiculous. It's the notion that like, oh, we don't have world wars anymore. It's like, yeah, we don't, but there is never a moment where America is not engaged in some kind of war. It's just you're sheltered from the immediate impact of such things.
Thank you. Let's go.
Let's go, guys.
Yeah, you can say, oh, dude, there's like, you know, you can rewind if you want. He's been taking questions for 10 minutes before he tuned in. No, it's fine. Especially because nuclear proliferation being the one thing that stops global powers, like superpowers, from fighting one another is ridiculous, because you have this cynical approach then where you automatically assume war is a constant. It is an inevitability. Like nuclear deproliferation would be, or denuclearization would be, one very unimaginably significant point towards global peace. He's not equipped mentally, Trump says of Mitch McConnell, saying he never really had it. I don't know anything about he had polio, Trump says. Are you doubting that he had polio? I have no idea if he had polio. Delusional, out of touch LA millionaire take. That's amazing. Yes, I am a delusional, out of touch LA millionaire. And that's why I think denuclearization is never going to happen. But in theory, it would be better for the world. 07? Oh, you're going to be banned for this brave take? No, you're not. I'm not going to ban you, little man. Don't worry. War is a constant. We are violent by nature. Come on. Okay. Yeah. You don't understand. Okay. You don't understand. We always have to constantly engage in war with one another. Mankind has never actually engaged in the collaborative effort. Yeah. What's human nature? Do you think skyscrapers are human nature? Do you think space travel is inherent to human nature? None of these things are human nature. Okay. It's ridiculous. Get out of here. I think explaining nukes aren't a deterrent is a hard thing to describe to people that believe it, because it's tied directly to the belief that many people have had that the world runs on being selfish and rugged individualism. I know. Yeah. It is a, unfortunately, incredibly cynical way to approach the world, especially if we're having a conversation about, especially when we're having a conversation about an alternative that will never exist regardless, but we're having a conversation about an alternative vision for the future. Okay? We are just as collectivist minded as we are violent conquerors. Exactly. It's about what you choose to highlight. Trump is live again? Oh my God, he's crazy. Oh, he's doing the RFK Jr. flex now. Okay, nice. Nothing works. RFK is actually breaking the broadcast, it seems. Holy what is happening? RFK has bricked the broadcast. What is going on? What is happening?
It's going to be a real honor for
me. Oh, there it is. Cheryl Hines is right there too.
The oath of office and officially become.
What is going on?
It's going to be.
Oh, they're rewinding the tape. Is there another feed? The RFK's alien brainworms are bricking the broadcast. It's over. Satan. RFK Jr.'s broken containment. This is not a drill. Oh, yeah, it's over. As far as like, will denuclearization happen? Of course not. Don't be ridiculous. I'm not saying that it will happen, but if you're going to talk about it in theory, okay, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that countries having world-ending weapons at their inside of their arsenal is a good thing. It's not. It is one of the most dangerous aspects of modern society. Okay? Don't let these people turn around and lie to you and make it seem like everybody having nukes is a good thing. Restart player by closing tab and reopening it. I don't think it's the player that's busted. I think it's the broadcast that's busted, chatter. Everyone else is having the same issue. What is the chat saying? DEI, Elon, fix it. Someone needs to be fired over this. This take goes against the Hasanabi doctrine. Yes, the Hasanabi doctrine is a totally separate conversation. Okay? If we're having a theoretical conversation about denuclearization, which is if we're having a realistic conversation, is never going to happen. But if we're having a theoretical conversation about denuclearization, yes, of course I'm in support of it. There's a difference between what is the reality and what is theoretically better. Oh, it's working now. Never mind, it's still not working. Thoughts on all the anti-woke leftists on X? I don't know who the anti-woke leftists are.
Kennedy Jr. take the oath of office and officially become our Secretary of Health and Human Services. Just as I promised last year, Bobby is going to lead a great national mission to make America healthy again, and he's going to do it. I think he's going to do things that will really make us very proud of this day. Like his father, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and his uncle, President John F. Kennedy, Bobby has devoted much of his life to serving his fellow Americans in his campaign for president, and he was a very tough competitor. I did not like it at all. I said, let's get him on my side. But in his campaign for president in 2024, Bobby brought together a coalition of supporters across party lines, and he really worked very hard, and he had tremendous support, unbelievable support. And I think a lot of that support came my way when we decided to do a little merger, and it was really great. And it was very loyal, incredible people. They believe in him so strongly. because he's a fierce advocate for the health of our children and for the values of free speech, democracy, and peace. And people are going to be very impressed, I have no doubt. I've known him a long time. He's been a friend of mine a long time. Perhaps most importantly, though, Bobby created a nationwide movement made up of millions and millions of mothers and fathers and young people and concerned citizens of every background who want to end and this horrible chronic disease crisis that exists in America. He's absolutely committed to getting dangerous chemicals out of our environment and out of our food supply and getting the American people the facts and the answers that we deserve. After years in which our public health system has squandered the trust of our citizens, and they really have. They don't trust us. They don't trust anybody, frankly. They've gone through hell. There's no better person to lead our campaign of historic reforms and restore faith in American health care. Bobby's going to do it. The United States spends more money in health than any other country on earth, but we're growing sicker every year. We're not as healthy as countries that spend just a fraction of what we spend, so there's something wrong. He's going to figure it out. In recent decades, we've seen staggering increases in cancer rates across all age demographics, including more than 40% increase in childhood cancer since 1975. Who can believe that? And an explosion in other chronic childhood illnesses. Not long ago, 1 in 10,000 people, children, had autism. Now it's 1 in 36. Think of that. 1 in 10,000. 1 in 10,000. Now it's 1 in 36. Who can believe that? There's something wrong. There's something wrong. And I think it's something that can be found out. In 2022, more than 40% of children had at least one chronic health condition, and today nearly 80% of young adults do not qualify for military service, in large part for health reasons. Think of that, 80%. Something is wrong, and that's why immediately after Bobby is sworn in, I will be signing an executive order establishing the President's Commission to make America healthy again. We have some great people on that commission. Chaired by our new secretary, this groundbreaking commission will be charged with investigating what is causing the decades-long increase in chronic illness, reporting its findings, and delivering an action plan to the American people. And it's going to be a plan that people are really waiting to hear. Bobby, I want to thank you. You've gone through a lot. It's taken great courage.
Yes,
been
autism
amazing, actually.
increasing
You're going to be okay.
is not because of
And he said,
vaccines
"I know, I
or the proliferation of vaccines. Autism
been
increasing is a
supported amazingly by
diagnosis
Cheryl and his family.
increase.
And
That's
it.
it.
Was very tough. It was a very nasty group of people that
That's
were
it.
after
It's
him,
just that
but he was
diagnosis
tougher
has
and
gotten
he was
better.
smarter than they
Or
are.
Twitch streamers in general. Twitch streamers have increased autism.
Understood the assault, but he was able to. So I just want to congratulate you, and we have a very special person here to swear you in. A man that I think has done just. I think he's just an amazing man.
It's also the same reason why it's mostly prominent in boys in general, or at least initially from the 90s onward, it was mostly prominent, seemingly only increased in boys. Why didn't it increase in women? Perhaps it has something to do with the social dynamic of a lot of the social conditioning that women go through, young girls go through, that make it harder to diagnose autism in women. Maybe that's the reason. Because it's not like women are getting vaccinated at a lower rate than men. You know? That's what's so stupid about it. It's because medical research around women is still, as a direct consequence of patriarchal constructs, significantly behind. That's it.
Okay, it's good so far. Good. It's a 10.
It's just a theory, though? What do you mean it's just a theory? What could it... There's nothing that, like, young men are experiencing that is, like, significantly different than young women in terms of, like, vaccines. Do you think that women are just not getting vaccinated? No, most of this stuff is just the same as the left-handedness argument, okay? Whether it's being gay, whether it's like more queer people exist now in society, what's that about? Or or there's more autism in American society. What's that about? Like virtually all of that is almost identical to the left-handedness argument. There's just a bunch of people who were left-handed normally, okay, and they were forced into writing and using their right hands. And once we stopped punishing people for doing that, there was a number of people that were left-handed, and it just stopped after a certain percentage. Yeah. The autism spectrum disorder is a vast criteria of different kinds of neurodivergencies that was put under the same umbrella and also had significantly better ways of diagnosis, especially since the 90s, which then led to a massive number of boys becoming autistic. Why are they becoming autistic? I've worked with boys with autism specifically, okay? And I can tell you, their parents were definitely autistic. The only difference was their parents were not diagnosed with autism. Okay? That's it. They just weren't diagnosed. The notion that there is a ginormous disparity. Yeah, some might say I still work with a lot of men with autism now, but the notion that there is this gigantic disparity between men catching autism versus women catching autism immediately undermines the vaccination argument. Okay? That's it. Like a lot of your parents have, some of you who are autistic have immediate family members that suspiciously have lifelike model trains. Okay? They have an entire room dedicated to model trains, and that doesn't even ring any alarm bells in your mind about an autism diagnosis for your uncle, okay? Or for your dad. What the fuck do you think is going on? Yeah, that boy is autistic as hell, okay? The only difference is he grew up in the 60s, 70s, 80s where he wasn't diagnosed. Oh, no, you don't understand. He's just quirky. He just quirked up. He's just got his, key interests. Oh, yeah, okay.
Who was president then, where we talked about the environment. He was involved deeply, as we all know, in restoring physical fitness to this country. He challenged at one point during his administration, he challenged Americans to do a 50-mile walk, which I ultimately did.
Have you ever seen a severe case of autism like nonverbal? Yes.
His walk,
I have. And yes, the parents weren't nonverbal.
Up at Camp David, and my father came in after 18
I know.
hours walking on the CNO towpath and with his feet bleeding and blisters on them. My father had one of his best friends was Al Lowenstein. And Al Lowenstein ultimately was a congressman from New York who was assassinated.
Me and my wife actually got invited to do a study about genetics and autism because both of our kids are diagnosed autistic. I got pretty high on that test too. Yeah.
Get rid of President Johnson and end the Vietnam War. And at the time that he started it, people just thought it was a fool's errand. And ultimately, he asked my father to run for president against Johnson. My father wouldn't do it at that time. And he asked Gene McCarthy. McCarthy did it, and he joined that campaign. And my father ultimately ran, and Johnson then dropped out. So Al Lowenstein succeeded. And although Al Lowenstein was on the other side now, running against my father with Gene McCarthy, my father wrote him a note, a quote from Emerson, where he said, if a single man plant himself firmly on his own ideal and there abide, the whole wide world will come around to him. For 20 years, I've gotten up every morning on my knees and prayed that God would put me in a position where I can end the childhood chronic disease epidemic in this country. On August 23rd of last year, God sent me President Trump. All right. And he gave me... He's now given me, he's kept every promise that he's made to me. He's kept his word in every account and gone way beyond it. I'm so grateful to you, Mr. President. A lot of people told me that I couldn't trust President Trump, that I better get it in writing. And we did a handshake, and everything that he told me he was going to do, he has done. Right. And I'm so grateful to him, and I've told you before, I genuinely believe that you are a pivotal historical figure, and you are going to transform this country at a time when we see all of the indicia of democracy now in tatters in our country. We see the rise of the military-industrial complex, the rise of totalitarianism, these attacks on our Constitution, and this breathtaking epidemic that is disabling our people. President Trump has promised to restore the American dream in this country. A healthy person has 1,000 dreams. A sick person only has one. 60% of our population has only one dream, that they get better. President Trump has promised that he's going to restore America's strength. But we can't be a strong nation if we have a weak citizenry.
I love that this man is the beacon of health, okay? I need you to understand what you're seeing right now. This man on screen, okay? This man right here, that's the beacon of health.
We need a man on a white
Do you understand me?
We need somebody
He's the healthiest
who
boy
is
that has
willing to
ever
fight
existed.
and has the spine and the guts and the strength.
The reason why he looks like a rotisserie chicken that has been left out for too long is part of the reason why he's so healthy. It's the drugs that he took.
President Trump has shown again and again that he is that hero. And most recently, I greatly appreciate, and I called you the day that you announced the termination of USAID. My uncle started USAID in 1961 for humanitarian purposes, to put our country on the side of the poor. It has been captured by the military-industrial complex. It has become a sinister propagator of totalitarianism and war across the globe. And very few people understand how sinister this agency really is. And President Trump saw that, and he stood up to it with a masterstroke. And we want to do the same thing with the institutions that are stealing the health of our children. We need a revolutionary figure, and you are that figure. And
Yeah,
I'm very grateful
that's
for
right.
you for
The
giving me this
revolutionary figure of Donald Trump.
I want to recognize some of the allies that I've had in this battle for a long time: Senator Rand Paul, Senator Ron Johnson, Senator Roger Marshall, Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Thank God.
and Buddy Carter, who've all been champions of the MAHA agenda before I even came along. And I'm very grateful for you for standing strong. Thank you very much, President.
Mr. Secretary, I'd like to ask, what plans do you have immediately at HHS now that you're sworn in?
He's going to be running it. He's going to do a great job.
What would you like to
That's
see
my
him do
plan.
first?
We're going to find out a lot of secrets that have been maybe kept from us, but he's going to come up with some solutions to some big, big problems. So
Could you please explain why this administration is making a show going after the military-industrial complex? I don't remember anything like this during the election, and it seems like the Republican base won't support it. They're not. They're not. I'd be shocked if they actually did. Okay? Virtually everything they've done thus far is not about undermining the American military-industrial complex at all. If you look at where they're making cuts, it's shit like the NIH. Okay? They're not making cuts on anything. They're not making any cuts on, like, think about it this way, chatters. They quite literally also sanctioned they signed off on additional weapons to Israel. That was one of the first initiatives that this administration has made. I can't think of something that is more wasteful in terms of spending.
When people actually hear what I think about vaccines, which is common sense, which is vaccines should be tested.
If they ever cut funding to the military, it will be for veterans, okay? They'll say that they're undermining, the American empire or whatever. Or at least that is how it will get presented in mainstream news. But the only thing they'll ever cut is veterans, spending on veterans' health care, things of that nature. Spending on veterans' housing, veterans' health care, maybe even college. As far as like what they talk about in terms of like the American military is so wasteful and we have to cut it, that's just populist sentiment, okay? They understand that a lot of people recognize the American military as a incredibly costly initiative. But that's it.
Thank you, guys. Let's go quickly, please. Quickly, guys. Come on.
The only other thing that I can foresee them doing in terms of like military spending cuts, I think, would probably come in the form of what are they doing with the nose thing? That's weird. Would probably come in the form of like maybe hiring more private contractors and outsourcing existing military operations to mercenaries. That's it. I don't think that they would offer significant cuts to the military because the military is attached to the hip to the military industrial complex, and it's a massive sector. It's there's too much money to be made. Anyway, yeah, from here on out, anyone who wants to set healthcare policy for America needs to be able to bench press their body weight, pass the law Congress. First of all, RFK Jr. can't bench press his body weight. We saw how much his bench looked. We saw what his bench press looked like. And it's shocking. It's been shocking because I think so many people, even in the physical fitness industry, have been captivated by the way he looks and hasn't really looked into the functionality of RFK Jr.'s muscles. Because the irony, no, he's not Natty. He does TRT. He's Mr. TRT. Okay. The irony is that like when he was working out in jeans in this video and he did a bench press, he did an incline bench press with, I think, weight that is significantly lower than someone that looks like that would be able to put up, especially with all of the especially
this
with
is superficial.
What is this? Oh yeah, this reminds me that NL said he doesn't trust folks like you.
I don't trust any journalist with biceps that big. I don't think he's serving the people. I think he's serving his own vanity to some extent. I'm not saying you can't be jacked and be a good public servant. It's just something. It's the reason that I'd be watching Kitchen Nightmares instead of Restaurant Impossible. Chef Robert Irving is too fucking jacked for me to take his opinions on cooking seriously. His soul is divided between the passion of running a restaurant.
Wow. Oh, okay. So this seems like a direct shot fired in my direction from Canadians that I think are sitting on a lot of valuable land right now, looking to be annexed, looking to be liberated. Okay? I'm just saying, you should only hear out the political commentary of maybe bald and not super in shape commentators. Yeah. You know what? I was on board. I was on board with defending Canada from American annexation, and now maybe Canada's looking like it needs to be liberated from the treacherous grips, the treacherous throes of socialized medicine. Please, if you try to come near Canada, the first snowflake would take you out. You doubt the Peloton?
The passion of running a restaurant and the passion of taking steroids. Now, Gordon takes his shirt off every episode in Kitchen Nightmares. He's in good shape. He's obviously, I think he's showing off a little bit, but he's not like, you know, Hugh Jackman jacked. He's like middle-aged man who exercises jacked, okay? There's a difference between that and the vascularity of someone like a Chef Robert Irving.
This is a direct attack, comrades. This is a direct attack against the Hasanabi community. This is a direct attack against me, Hasan Hasanabi Piker. Okay, I am under attack. I'm under attack. I saw this already. I saw this earlier. Hasan stream titles be like, huge news, new Zelda, impending civil war. Yeah, we're going to war with the Lion of the North, okay? Double shots fired. Okay, one of my 2025 goals is to do a collaborative stream with Northern Lion before America permanently annexes Canada. Okay, we have to do this. We have to do this to instill the brotherly bond between our fellows up north and the American proletariat. This must happen. We have to do it. I mean, I love Northern Lion. You guys know this, all jokes aside. And yeah. I'd rather die than learn French. Brother, I don't think you would have to learn French. Don't make me choose who to support in this war. Little Bear, we all know you would go with Northern Lion, okay? We all know that. Bro, you need some trap muscles. You kind of blank there. Dog, I have an incredibly wide frame. It makes it all the more difficult to have beefy trap muscles. Anyway. Are you a partisan of the FLQ? I am. If America tries to annex Canada, you don't understand how hard I will be in the tank for Quebecois separatists, okay? Will they want my, Muslim adjacent support? I do not know, but I'll still give it to them regardless. You don't understand. What's with the new camera angle? Haven't watched since Japan. I dig it. Yeah, I wanted to maximize more of the space that I have in here. It's a bad camera angle? I disagree. Okay, all jokes aside, I am in support of the Quebecer separatists in their effort to decouple from the horrifying Anglophone oppression. It's doubly horrifying if you consider the American Anglophone oppression that could happen. Okay? Yes. I offer full support. All right. Is Donald Trump still doing press conferences? I believe he will continue with the Modi press conference in a little bit. But let's get started on Ukraine. Donald Trump coming in hot and doing things about Ukraine that European leaders feel sidestepped on, seemingly.
On Russian television, they could scarcely contain their glee.
В Кремле
Quebec.
Against the backdrop of an American prisoner released from a Moscow jail this week, the anchorwoman asks, has Russia been promised Kyiv or Odessa? President Trump, she says, has an excellent friendship with President Putin. And what about the
Northern Line is not acknowledging your comments. Disrespect is real. He can disrespect me if he wants. I still love him.
Ukrainian president visiting a proposed nuclear power plant? President Trump called him after speaking to President Putin last night.
It's important that everything does not go according to Putin's plan. He wants to make all his negotiations bilateral between him and the United States, but we, as a sovereign country, simply will not be able to accept any agreements taken without us.
But this was Trump on Ukraine a few days ago.
Like, the difference between Trump and Joe Biden or any Democratic leadership is that a Democrat will never actively say, will never openly say the truth. They'll never say Ukrainian autonomy is insignificant in this process. They will, as a matter of fact, consistently say we are behaving in the interests of our incredibly important allies. But the reality of the matter is, what Trump is saying. It doesn't matter what the Democrats say. What matters is what the Democrats do. Just like it doesn't matter what Trump says, what matters is what Trump does. Okay? So while Democrats will maintain the aesthetics and maintain civility, yes, of course, they also did not listen to the demands made by Zelensky on numerous occasions. Zelensky kept asking for more weapons. Zelensky kept asking for different kinds of weapons, air support. Zelensky wanted to do a flight-free, like they wanted to create a security zone above Ukrainian airspace. Okay, they wanted to do a no-fly zone. This would require American and NATO forces to constantly fly over the area and blow up Russian flights, blow up Russian air cover. Okay, this would have been a direct. This would have obviously been a hot war between nuclear powers, NATO nations, the United States of America, and Russia. They never did that. Okay, Biden gave billions to Ukraine. What the F are you talking about? My point is, regardless of what Ukraine's demands were, no matter how moral or how just, so giving Ukraine to Putin is the same as not supplying every request by Zelensky. What the F is this take? Okay. You are failing to comprehend the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that Ukrainian interests in this process, I'm going to walk through this slowly but surely. Okay? There were plenty of needs that Ukraine had after the invasion. Okay? The Democratic administration did not abide by all of those needs. The Democratic administration did not turn around and give everything that Zelensky asked to Ukraine. Okay? They never would turn around and be like, Zelensky doesn't order us, we order him. They would never say the truth of the matter. Okay? And some of you, I think, were you fell for this consent being manufactured. You fell for this idea that like the Democrats actually did care about all of the emancipatory needs of Ukraine and that it was actually a moral interest that America had. It was not. And I kept repeating this over and over again. Okay? Donald Trump turning around and saying the quiet part out loud does not change the dynamic. Okay? That's it. Fell for it again, award back-to-back champion. Yeah. You should remain neutral in politics, Hasan. Thank you.
You know, they may make a deal, they may not make a deal, they may be Russian someday, or they may not be Russian someday.
The new US Defense Secretary at NATO today may not aim to have Ukraine as...
This is the difference between Donald Trump also undermining U.S. aid. Okay, yeah, I should stay neutral like Asmongold. I should stay neutral in politics like Asmongold, which would require me to just watch Donald Trump and go, yeah, that's pretty based. Yeah. Anyway, you should just tell people you are a centrist while holding all the same views. Yeah, I am. I'm a centrist. I'm a neutralist. I'm just objective. But something that a lot of people fail to consider here is that the situation in Ukraine is not, at this stage, the situation in Ukraine and what will happen in Ukraine is dictated by the terms of the battlefield. Okay? As in, there's two different options here. Will Ukrainian will Ukrainians living outside of Ukraine right now, Ukrainian men living outside of Ukraine right now, be forcibly deported back to Ukraine in order to be conscripted into the military and basically reinvigorate the Ukrainian defense forces because they need manpower more than anything else? Or will there be a land swap agreement, an inevitable end or an inevitable cessation of hostilities? Okay, you can criticize the Democratic Party without also blaming all of Trump's ridiculous things on them as well. I'm not blaming what Trump is saying right now. This is not even a criticism of the Democratic Party. This is a criticism of American foreign policy. Okay? You don't believe the weapons and billions from the U.S. government had a significant effect on Ukraine defending itself from invasion? No, of course it did. It probably stopped. It definitely stopped Vladimir Putin from taking Kyiv, okay? 100%. It played a pretty major role, especially in the interim from 2014 onward, where Ukraine was able to build a standing military, played a very significant role in them stopping Russia's offensive campaign. I think it definitely played a role. Having said that, however, after that fact, there was one instance where they talked in Antalya on a 15-point plan that fell apart, and ever since then, Russia has been able to take more and more space in eastern Ukraine, move up eastern Ukrainian positions, annex key parts of eastern Ukraine in sham symbolic annexations and like ridiculous elections that they're holding, okay? While simultaneously destroying Ukrainian farmland, mining the shit out of eastern Ukraine, and hardening their positions. I thought you were pro-Russia. No, I'm not pro-Russia. Why would you think I'm pro-Russia? I've never been pro-Russia. Please stop relying on drama content creators who have no understanding of politics whatsoever. Okay? Jesus Christ. I can't believe we're 3 years into this. And people still come in here and they go, oh my God, I can't believe Hasan is not pro-Russia. That's so shocking to me. I thought he was. How hard is this position hardened by a democracy today and what? Find out. Side of black pill to go. I don't know what you're saying. Okay. You're a communist? Potato. Yeah, exactly. Because of my communist background, I am, of course, in support of the communist kleptocracy that is modern Russia. Certainly a communist country, certainly a socialist country, led by the Marxist-Leninist Vladimir Putin. Famous communist. Anyway, I don't think that there is a tremendous difference. I don't think there is a gigantic difference between what any administration would do in this process. The only difference here is that Donald Trump will, again, say the quiet part out loud and defend it, even though it is indefensible. But that is because American foreign policy is often indefensible. The aesthetic differences are identical to the U.S. aid gutting. Okay? Now, Donald Trump says he's going to completely undermine U.S. aid. In which case, is he actually going to stop clandestine operations overseas or stop sending aid to other countries? Yes, he will most likely stop key aspects of aid going into other countries. But in reality, they are most likely going to centralize U.S. aid and still continue U.S. aid style operations. It's just that America is responding to its standing around the world changing, okay? As the global hegemonic superpower, as the cop, as the universal police force of the planet, America has lost a lot of soft power capabilities, and Donald Trump is accelerating that change to all hard power, all military, all stick, no carrot. That's it. Okay? I think this is a genuinely dangerous change. Can you explain what soft power versus hard power means? Yes. Soft power is when you do nice things for other countries and therefore garner goodwill. I'll give you an example from China. China sending Sinovac to the Philippines is an example of soft power. Okay? Soft power works hand in hand with American military might and American military capabilities. Okay? It's the carrot versus the stick. The carrot plays a pretty big role because it causes, or at least it creates an environment where 800 military bases all around the world in foreign countries is not seen as 800 separate American military invasions, but rather a security cooperation and a security partnership. The Ukraine-Russia line has mostly been fixed since 2022 to 2023. Russia gained 4,000 square kilometers of territory in 2024, which was largely meaningless, so it's currently a stalemate at enormous cost to both sides, of course. Russia gained 4,000 square kilometers of Ukraine in 2024. How many soldiers did it lose? Verifying casualty figures for soldiers in Russia-Ukraine war is difficult, as experts call it a war of narratives. What is clear, Russia has lost more troops than in any war since World War II. Yeah, it is endlessly costly for Russia to consistently engage in permanent war in Ukraine, and it is, of course, also endlessly costly for Ukraine. The problem between Russia and Ukraine is that while Ukraine is backed by the entirety of the Western world, they simply have less people. No, they're not saying that they've lost close to the same number of troops in World War II. They're not saying that. They're just simply saying that the number of casualties on the Russian side are ginormous, more than any other country since World War II. World War II was like 20 million people. That's obviously it's nowhere near that. Okay. Doge is already dismantling the NED. This is good for the global south as a whole. We do not want your color revolution, says Top G. Yeah. Once again, I think the difference between what America will do in the future versus what America has done for the past almost century is that they just won't try to masquerade what they're doing as like a good thing. Okay, a thing that everybody wanted. Only when you witness the unstoppable march of 1.4 billion patriotic volunteers will you finally wake up from the pitiful stupor forced upon you by living in the imperial core. But a fake socialist like you will never visit China. You will remain an ostrich with his very small head buried in the sand. First of all, Don't threaten me with a good time, okay? Don't threaten me with a very, even though you are, making fun of my head size, which is something outside of my control and only a consequence of my very broad shoulders, which I believe in most Asian countries is seen as a positive anyway. Don't know if it's the same in China as well. Okay. But all you are doing is highlighting that I will benefit from the Chinese century of prosperity. Okay. That's all you're saying. Anyway, if given the chance, would you visit China? I really want to. I want to visit China this year. Not exactly sure when I would do it, but I do want to do it. That is a certainty. You're a smart guard. Do you really think Kamala would have pushed for a ceasefire in Ukraine? Biden's deal was muscular liberalism, and Kamala was about preserving his legacy. I think muscular liberalism aside, the only thing that would be different is the aesthetics and how it is presented. Because once again, and I repeat this position over and over again, and I think I will have to repeat it over and over again, the only difference would be how it is packaged. Because the situation in Ukraine is not dictated by simply just like American interests or Russian interests. It is more so dictated by the terms of the battlefield. And if Ukraine is simply running out of manpower, as I've reported over and over again over the course of the past couple of months, and as the appetite towards more war is waning, regardless of the moral position that many Ukrainians maintain in emancipation from Russian invasion, okay? At the end of the day, there's a desperation that sets in when you simply don't have enough manpower. So unless you send in American mercenaries or something by the tens of thousands beyond the Foreign Legion, okay, and try to change the dynamic of this, battle with no severe Russian response, no like nuclear Russian response or whatever. Running out of manpower is such an AI way to say such a grim thing. Yes, running out of manpower means Ukrainians are dying. Okay, that's it. That's what that means. I think the reason the U.S. is letting go of its soft power is because U.S. is now unable to use access to the dollar and Western markets to control governments. China is a far better market and they do better deals. Washington knows it's not the global hegemon. I'm afraid they will try to start a world war to stop China's growth. They just know trading isn't working anymore. Where is the sentiment that Ukraine is lost, though? I mean, this is not a sentiment. This is just a grim but realistic analysis of what the situation looks like in terms of Ukrainian manpower. That's why I keep repeating that there are millions of Ukrainian men that no longer live in Ukraine that got refugee status in the West. What do you do in that situation? Do you forcibly extract them and then force them back to go and pick up arms against Russia? Do you deport Ukrainian men from all of the Western nations that they went to, okay, and then force them to serve in the Ukrainian defense forces? Because that's the only way at this point. That or conscription for all Ukrainian men down to the age of 18 is the only way that you can maintain this this posture, this defensive posture. Or do you tell Ukraine that it's basically over? Russia, being this despotic authoritarian nation that it is, and being significantly larger than Ukraine, has the capacity to keep pushing men to the front lines in a way that Ukraine can't keep up. That's it. Russia just has more the people. At the end of the day, wars are fought on the boundaries of attrition, and Russia has more manpower to lose. They're not even using their own people. They're using North Koreans. No, I think that's more so aesthetic partnership with North Korea, saying like North Korea also has a say in this, or North Korea also is involved in this. Are they using North Koreans? Yes. Is it partially because they've run out of a lot of manpower? Certainly, but it's not like a game changer for Russia at all, I think. Anyway, honestly, Ukraine has to convert into an attrition anti-occupation guerrilla war. Open field wars will always be in Russia's favor. Give them territory, then give them hell. I mean, as a Ukrainian, I can confirm your point that Ukraine has no more men, but from here to say that Ukraine has lost, it seems to me somewhat pessimistic vision. However, the Ukrainians will not give in to Russia's demands if they do not at least concede something to Ukraine. I think the general feeling is better to all die than to surrender. In terms of loss overall, I think that both sides have lost a lot in this process, for sure. Like Ukraine has had, I guess, somewhat of a Pyrrhic victory, in terms of being able to stop the Russian forces. And there's a tremendous number of Russian combatants that have been slaughtered in the process as well. The problem there is, when one side just has less people, what are you supposed to do? Is there actually any proof that there are DPRK soldiers in Ukraine? All I've seen are articles citing the Ukrainian and South Korean intelligence. I think that even the Russian side has admitted to using, or like all the reporting says that they're using it inside of Russian territory, in terms of like internal defense in Kursk and whatnot. Some of it is like the Asian Russians, which exist, but they have captured some DPRK forces, from what I understand. I don't know if they're in the front lines on Ukrainian territory, but I've seen some videos even on Russian hospitals about like Russian combatants in hospital chilling with the what they claim are North Koreans. But then again, as this Al Jazeera article shows, it is a war of narratives. Not that it ultimately matters, because once again, it's not like a significant difference maker. It's more like, I would go so far as to say that getting artillery shells from DPRK for Russia was more significant in this conflict than the actual troops. Because I think a lot of people on the pro-NATO, pro-Ukraine side look to that and say, oh, it's because like Russia has incurred tremendous loss, which is true, they have, without matching that up against what the current Ukrainian defense forces look like. I think it's more so just a partnership that Russia has with the DPRK and reaffirmation of said partnership than anything else. There's a lot of FPV drone footage showing a lot of Asian combatants. I know, but Russian forces also have a lot of minority populations in Russia. There's ethnic Russians that are still Asian. So drone footage doesn't necessarily show that they're definitely North Korean. Not saying that there aren't, by the way. Most of Russia is in Asia. So, like, Asian as in, like, East Asian. Like, dudes who look like dudes who look like they could be North Korean.
Russian someday. But the very idea is an anathema to
You're talking about the indigenous populations like Tuans, Khakas, Buryats, etc. Yes.
everyone else in the room.
There is no betrayal there. There is a recognition that the whole world and the United States is invested and interested in peace, a negotiated peace. As President Trump has said, stopping the killing. And so that will require both sides recognizing things they don't want to. That's why I think the world is fortunate to have President Trump. Only he at this moment could convene the powers that be to bring peace.
But the Europeans fear a Trump-Putin stitch-up, which freezes both them and the Ukrainians out of any peace talks. For the EU's top diplomat, who comes from Estonia, a former Soviet state that fears the same fate as Ukraine, it's existential.
It is clear that
Estonia mentioned. Estonia mentioned Pog.
Any deal behind our backs will not work. Any agreement will need also Ukraine and Europe being part of it, and this is clear that appeasement also always fails. So Ukraine will continue to resist, and Europe will continue to back Ukraine.
Britain, which sometimes hovers between the US and Europe, is clearly in the European camp.
There can be no negotiation about Ukraine without Ukraine, and Ukraine's voice must be at the heart of any talks.
Some might recall a meeting exactly 80 years ago when the Soviet, British and American leaders, Stalin, Churchill and Roosevelt, met at Yalta in Crimea to carve up the world after World War II. War-ravaged occupied countries had no...
What's your favorite Houthi musical? What's your favorite bar from a Houthi musical? Play a Houthi musical for chat. It would probably be that. It would probably be the one that I showed Nick, where they were talking about how the American-backed Saudi coalition forces were doing a genocide in Yemen, and they were saying, "Send us more weapons if you want. We will never stand down." That one probably is my favorite. Yeah. Yeah, they got diss tracks for days. I don't know why people think that this is like a massive own or something, especially considering that this is like not a issue to be hosted on any other platform, with the exception of Twitch's own terms of service being way more rigid than all these other platforms. You know? This is not a defense of the Ansar Allah movement's banner or their domestic affairs, but yeah, if you genuinely want to know, I think that the one where they were fighting against the Saudi blockade and the famine, and said you can keep killing our people, it doesn't matter. That one was a pretty good one. You've been cutting your oil with whiskey? Oh, for Saudi Arabia? If chatter is wondering, the name translates to "We Don't Care." Yeah, that's the title of that one, that musical work. It came off like he's saying you're a fake fan. Name 3 Houthi songs. Yeah. You're not a real leftist if you don't mask every day. Okay. Don't know why you're bringing that up right now. I'm in my own house. Let's continue.
Say the great powers decided everything. Might was right. And that's how the new US administration sees it too.
We can talk all we want about values. Values are important. But you can't shoot values. You can't shoot flags, and you can't shoot strong speeches.
Wow, bold.
There is no replacement for hard power.
That's he's really spitting.
Ukrainian soldiers on the front line aren't thinking about history. For them, it's about personal survival and the survival of their country. Because if Ukraine is sacrificed to Russia, what was the point? Why did their comrades die? The atrocities Russian soldiers committed in...
It's a great question. I agree. A question that I have wondered quite a bit myself.
Bucha, will they be not punished but rewarded for them? Ukrainian cities are still being bombarded. They desperately need peace, as President Trump says, but not at the cost of losing their independence or reaching a temporary peace, only for Russia to come back for more in a few years' time. The NATO family photo, but the family is divided. Europe, the Americans have made clear, has to increase military spending, and they can defend Ukraine if they like. America isn't going to. The post-World War II order is over. Get used to it.
Even the Red Army used soft power to fight the nationalists in China by promising things and giving things to peasants. Yeah, I mean, it was fairly easy considering that the KMT's vision for a new China was to reassert and reinstall the previous landlordship dominance over the peasant class, whereas for the Red Army, it was a complete restructuring of said hierarchy. So, you know, even the peasants that worked alongside the KMT initially or filled the ranks of the KMT initially were like, okay, well, I don't want a fucking landlord. I'm going to go with the other guys. So, yeah, I don't even know if that's soft power at that point versus a genuine commitment to instilling change. Chiang Kai-shek was anti-landlord? Maybe initially. No, I mean, there is truth to the KMT's initial formation looking somewhat similar to, well, I mean, I wouldn't say similar to communism or anything like that, but like, yeah, at first, the nationalist movement was also a movement of change, moving away from